Welcome to my wonderful knitting life. My name is Margaret and I am the host of this channel. This channel is mostly about knitting, but sometimes I talk about some other projects that might have to do with crochet, sewing, and at the end, I occasionally will talk a little bit about what's going on in my life. I am a teacher working and living in a northeastern Quebec town in Quebec, Canada. And I am soon to be retired. I am about 3.5 weeks away from leaving Quebec and moving back to the family cottage in Ontario. So I am very quickly doing a podcast today. I have no notes, but I have lots of things to show you, and hopefully I will remember everything that I want to say. It will probably be a little while before I do another episode because I need to move myself. And then I'm also going to be moving my daughter from Gatineau over to Ottawa. So it is going to be a very busy couple of months ahead. But I do have a lot to talk about today. I want to thank all of you for supporting me and watching, and welcome to anybody who's new to the channel. There's been a few more subscribers, so welcome. You are most welcome here. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel keep going. So I have finished 3.5 objects since I last recorded. My first object is the one that I am wearing, and I'm just noticing my camera's a little askew. There, I think that's better. This is the Rocket Tee. And I have been having a little struggle with finishing it off. The last podcast I did, I talked about maybe ripping out the I-cord at the bottom and doing a folded hem. I have not done that. I finished it as is and I decided to wear it. I am possibly going to re-block the I-cord at the bottom and see how it goes. But I found a t-shirt to wear underneath it that is the perfect color. I made a little bit of a longer sleeve than is mentioned in the pattern. The pattern goes to just after the split, and I extended that a little bit because I like to have a little bit of a sleeve in my sweater. And it is quite long, and it does have the I-cord at the bottom, and it's still rolling up a little bit, but I did wear it to work anyway, and I really like the feel of it. It's nice and boxy. I did it a little bit oversized, so I'm going to enjoy it as is and see how it goes. I have not decided what I'm going to do yet, but it's very vibrant and I'm enjoying the color. So it is what it is, and I would probably make it again. I do really like the pattern. Maybe not the bottom I-cord, but I do enjoy the pattern. So my second finished object is, it's got it stuck behind me. This is my Painted Pebbles shawl by the Forest City Knit Girls. This has taken me quite a while to do. It's kind of that go-to project when you're tired and you just knit it, pick it up and knit it. What I did for this, because I have made it before and I followed the exact pattern, what I did for this time was I just used the increase and decrease on the edges in the pattern. I also used the I-cord bind off in the pattern, but the rest of it was really just me deciding what colors I was going to do and going with it. So I did some color blocking, I did some striping. It used 2 100-gram skeins, and I love it. I've worn it already quite a few times, and I'm super, super happy with the results. I think this yarn was the yarn that I got, and it would be probably in a few episodes back in the show notes. It is a local dyer, and I believe the yarn had 10% cashmere in it. I really like how the I-cord turned out too. So I did a little section of the cream, and then I switched to the orange and I did their I-cord bind off, and I really like how that turned out. I was left with about Oh, well, here we go. I have the yarns. These little bits right here is all I was left with. It's really big, so I can wrap it around more than once. Super, super long. I probably could have made it shorter, but when I was knitting it, I wasn't sure how much it was going to stretch out when I blocked it, and it really stretched out. So it's a great one that can be wrapped around more than once, and I love the color combinations. I think I'm actually showing it the wrong way. There we go. That's the way I'm supposed to be showing it. So a fabulous project, a great potato chip knit, and I'm really happy that I'm finished it. So that's finished object number 2. I don't usually have this many finished objects, so it's kind of exciting. Finished object number 3 is my pair of socks that I made with West Yorkshire Spinners yarn, and I believe this is the colorway Blue Lagoon, and I'm really happy with how these turned out. These fit fantastic. So what I did with these, oh, and I haven't blocked them yet. I just put them on my new sock blockers to show them off. So these are a 64 stitch sock. I usually do a sock that is 56 or 54 stitches because I have a very narrow foot, but I did these on a 2mm needle. I really like to watch A Stitch in Time, and that's Carol. She does that podcast. She is an avid sock knitter, and she likes to do her socks on 64 stitches. I'm just going to pause because I'm noticing the light is changing as the light outside, the sun is starting to come out, and it's kind of messing around with my lighting. So, all right, hopefully that's a little bit better. It kept changing the lighting. So I watched Carol, A Stitch in Time podcast, and she likes to do her socks 64, but on a 2mm, which obviously makes the gauge a lot tighter. And I'm really liking how they feel, and I like how they fit. So I did 20 rows of 2x2 ribbing at the top. And I don't know if anybody does this, but what I do after I've cast on my stitches for a sock is I knit one row, and it gives this sort of, I don't know, a little embellishment at the top. The reason why I do that is I find it's very difficult to knit and purl that first row. I find it's just very fiddly. So I just do one knit row, and then I go into my garter of the 2x2. I did a heel flap and gusset heel. And then I did this little trick on the bottom. I learned about this from Amy of Noble Character Crafts podcast. She does the slip stitch, which you would see here on the heel, on the bottom of the foot right here. And for her, that's where she finds her socks wear out. But for me, I find that's where my feet are a little bit bony, and it gives a little bit more cushioning. And I really like that. I've tried these on. I haven't worn them yet, so we'll see how that goes, but I'm really liking how that looks and how it feels. I did a rounded toe to finish off, and when I got to, I think it was 18 stitches, I started to decrease every row. I find otherwise the sock is way too pointy for me, and I'm happy to say I very, very much managed to almost make them identical. You can see there's a little bit at the bottom that doesn't match, but they're pretty close. I'm not a super matchy person, but I do really like how they turned out. So that's my finished object number 3. I have a half a finished object. I'll just do a little switcheroo here with my sock blocker. So I've been working on another pair of socks, and I finished one. Now, these ones I actually started before I did the West Yorkshire Spinners one. I can't remember the name of the yarn of this one, but it would be in my show notes from a past episode. So this is a yarn that I bought at my local yarn store, and that store is called Au Petit Mouton. So the little sheep is, I think, how maybe it translates. So I've basically done the exact same thing with this sock as I've done with the other one, except this one's worked on a 2.25 millimeter needle. And I really have to say that I'm sold on the 2 millimeter now. I really prefer how that feels. I like how dense it is. I'm really enjoying that. And I don't find it any more difficult to knit with that smaller needle. So I think that's going to be my go-to. I do a fairly long leg when I make a sock. I'm quite tall and so are my legs. So if I was to do a sock, you know, like other people to here, it would be too short for me. So it tends to use up a good amount of yarn, but I never run out. And if I take a look at what's left of my West Yorkshire spinners, I figure I have enough for another pair of socks with this if I do the cuff, the heels, and the toes in a contrast. So that's something I'm holding on to and I will use sometime in the future. So those are pretty much all of my finished objects that I'm excited to tell you about. So my works in progress are not aplenty right now because of the move happening. I really have had not a lot of time to knit. And when I'm knitting, I'm really tired. So one of the projects that I have been working on is my Sorrel by Woolen Pine. So I had run into a bit of a problem with this sweater, and it was how I was deciding to fade my colors. This is knit out of a Holstgarn hand-dyed sock yarn, and they're 𝐘𝐀𝐑𝐍 base, so I'm holding it double. And when I was working with these three and I started putting in this third color, it really wasn't fading very well. It was far too different, far too stripy. Even given the multi-tonal of this, it just wasn't working for me. So that kind of forced me to do an order from Holst because I wasn't ripping this sweater out and using a different yarn for it. So I did an order, and the color that I picked up that works is this one, and I'm trying to remember what the name of it is. Let me take a look because I have them here, and this is called, I don't know, Camilla maybe. Camilla, I think. And that seems to be working. So let me see if I can hold that up. So I'm liking that. They give you in this pattern a bit of a formula of how to work in the colors. And I'm really elongating that effect over many, many rows. They do it, I think, over 20. I think I'm probably doing it over like 40 or 50 rows. So I think I'm really liking that. I'm still fading it in, and it's definitely going to be the color I go with. I'm not ripping it back. But one thing I'm finding I'm going to have to be really careful about going forward is the sock yarn that I'm using, because there's quite, is that the one I wanted to show? No, it's this one. There's quite a variety in the hand dyed, of course. So I'm using this one currently, and I'm finding it's making it very pale. So I'm not going to rip back, but I'm going to stop using that one, and I'm going to switch to this one, which is darker, and I think it will work better for the final part of the fade. So that's something I'm going to have to watch for on the sleeves as well to make sure that it's all going to work out. But all in all, that's my Sorrel, and I'm happy with that. I think it's a very pretty sweater. It works out to a DK, and it's very, very soft. This combination is wonderful. So that brings me to my new Holst purchases, because if you're going to order from abroad, overseas, there's not really much point in buying 1 or 2 balls of 𝐘𝐀𝐑𝐍. You just have to go all out. I'm hoping it's all going to fit in the car, because that's another issue with my move. I'm not getting a moving truck. I have been selling everything but the bathroom sink, and I'm hoping to just move with what I can fit in my car. So that's one of the reasons why I need to podcast today, because this table is going to go on the market this afternoon. The ironing board that I have my phone on and my ring light, that's going to go, and I have to empty this room. So that's a project for this afternoon. All right, so I did order from 𝐼𝐍𝐆. So I picked up the new color for the fade, which is really pretty. But I did get quite a bit of other colors of 𝐘𝐀𝐑𝐍 because I wasn't completely sure what was going to work. So I also got this color, which is too dark, but it's super pretty. And I could even bring that in at the very end of my sweater. This is called Blossom. It's very, very pretty. And I also got one that's kind of got a bit of it turned out to be a little bit on the orange side. Sorry about the plastic noises here. So I got this one, and this one is called Rose Bay, but I find it's got a little more of an orange to it. But I do have a lot of orange, Super Soft by 𝐼𝐍𝐆 and Coast by 𝐼𝐍𝐆 as well. So there's not going to be a problem in finding a use for all of that. And I also picked up 2 cones because my latest favorite color is pink, and I wanted to get a couple of things that I didn't have in my yarn stash. So this one is the Super Soft, which is 100% wool from 𝐼𝐍𝐆, and that is called Peony, and it is super, super pretty. I really like that color. And I also got this one, which is their Coast line. I think I was kind of in the mood for something that was summery, and the Coast is a mix of cotton and merino, and it is a 55-45 split, but I can't remember which way the split goes. But this is super pretty, and it does match really, really well up with this 𝐘𝐀𝐑𝐍. So it could go with that one. It could also go with this one if I wanted to do a DK sweater. And this Coast is called Red Currant. One of the reasons why that one really jumped out at me was the color, but I know that Kelly of Kelly and Noel on Knits and Pieces podcast, they, I believe, have this one. And Kelly has used this, I think, and I remember it being super, super pretty. So that was one of the reasons why that one sort of stood out to me. All right, there's another thing I'm working on, and that has to do with the topic of the Canadian Yarn Destash group, which I will talk about today, and it has to do with these boxes behind me. I've not been very good about not buying yarn lately. So I cast on another sock, and this sock is a 64 stitch sock. And again, I am using the 2mm needles, and I'm doing my little trick at the top of starting with just a knit row and then going into 20 rows of 2x2. And I have quite a few more rows I'm going to do on that. I don't like my socks to be too short. This yarn comes in a beautiful ball like this. This is just gorgeous. And this is called Cake for Breakfast. And it is by Scrumptious Pearl. And when I went to the Twist Festival last summer, I saw quite a few of these. And I was really tempted to try them, but honestly, I have a lot of yarn already. And I thought, you know what, I think they were like $40, maybe even $42, $45. They were quite pricey, but a lot of work to dye that, no doubt. There's a lot of intensive work on that. But what happened recently, and probably wasn't a good thing because now I'm buying more yarn, was I have a friend who told me about the Facebook group called the Canada Yarn Destash group. And I am sure this exists in other countries besides Canada. Only Canadians can belong given the shipping issue. But how this works is people who are trying to destash their yarn, they post pictures of it, they put their price up, and if you're in the area, you can buy it and pick it up. If you're not, they will ship it to you in these flat rate Canada Post boxes, which I have right here to show you. And it's not that expensive, to be honest with you. It's no more expensive than shipping from a yarn store, and sometimes cheaper than that. And the yarn that's on this site is very often priced at 50% or even sometimes less than what it would be in the store. Obviously, there's a little bit of a risk and you have to be super careful. Anything that you're buying online like that, you have to check out the person that you're buying from, make sure they're not a scam. And you have to obviously trust too that the yarn is going to arrive. So I did purchase from 2 people and everything went absolutely fine. There was no problem. So the first yarn that I purchased came in a box this size. And the reason why this kind of became a thing I wanted to try was because I fell in love with the West Yorkshire spinners, and I looked online to purchase some more, but with the shipping and everything, it was not cheap, and I'm going to be in the city fairly soon anyway, so I thought, you know what, no, I'll wait. But then all of a sudden, of course, this came up on the destash group, and I think it was from British Columbia, so I'm on the other side of the country, which is quite far away. So I had it shipped, and I had always really wanted these colors, so it worked out super well. So what I ended up buying for $10 plus shipping was a red ball. It didn't have a label. I wasn't really concerned about that. A full ball of this colorway that has been wound up into a ball. Another one of this color with the sleeve, and it's called Candy Cane, by the way. And I also got the green one, which is called Chocolate Lime. So I'm super happy with that purchase, and I'm really looking forward to being able to use that yarn. I don't know how West Yorkshire Spinners is going to wear long term, but I just hear really good things about it, and I love how it feels in my hands. It doesn't feel plasticky. It is a superwash yarn, but it feels really, really woolly and cozy. So I'm very happy with that. So that's going to be vacuum sealed and put in the car later today. That won't be knit quite yet. So the other purchase that I have off of that site involves this cake that I purchased. And I'm super loving that. This is fun. This is super fun. I don't know if you guys have ever used one of these, but it's very motivating to see how it's gonna go with the stripes, and just so much fun. So the reason why this kind of popped up on my radar, here we go. I have fiber in my mouth. All right. The reason why this popped up was because I have always wanted to try Sweet Georgia sock yarn. Their Tough Love sock, I hear people rave about it. And it's not cheap, but good yarn isn't cheap. So when this popped up for, I can't remember if it was 50% or like 40% of the retail price, I thought, you know what, maybe I'll try that. And this person had so many other beautiful yarns that I kind of went a little crazy. So I picked this up. This is called, and it's an 80/20. This is called Celery. Very appropriate, I think. I also picked up another one of these fabulous balls of yarn. And this one is called Poolside. and it is an 80/20, and it's their Stripe Me Up by Scrumptious Pearl. However, my puppy managed to get into my room, which is where this was housed, and I did get it off of him very, very quickly. But to a puppy, this looks like a fantastic toy. So I'm gonna have to fix that, but no damage is done. And this one's gonna be super fun as well, I think, to knit up. So looking forward to that. I also picked up what I'm pretty sure is going to end up being shawls. These Hello Stella skeins. These are so pretty. This one especially. So these kind of all will work together. Not necessarily this one, but these two will work together super well for a future shawl. So that was also in this package, and they can squish a lot into these boxes. And what do we have here? I don't know if these are current colorways, but this is the basic Stella, and it is an 80/20 fingering. This is Amethyst, this one here. The middle one I'm holding is called Sleepy Hollow, and this one right here is called Shell Cottage. So very, very pretty. And I do really like purple. Purple's one of my favorite things. As you can probably tell from the things behind me, lots of purple. Well, I couldn't stop there because there were two other things that I really wanted. I've never bought a sock set before. So this same lady had these two sock sets. So this is Merino Sock by 𝐘𝐂𝐑𝐍 Yarns. And it is called Finding Ranges, and it is also their merino sock line. And I just thought that was amazing, and I couldn't pass it up. I don't think that I'll be using the mini necessarily with this. This might be a muscle burrow. I have the pattern, and this gold, I'm thinking, might become the heels and toes for this sock. We'll see. I had that on Instagram this morning, or maybe it was last night. So that is a possibility. And this is just gorgeous. I love this one. This is called Woolberry Fiber Co. Not a yarn that I'm familiar with. It is also an 80/20, and it is a berry sock set in the colorway Be Mine. But I just think that is stunning. Again, I'm not sure if I'll necessarily use those together, but I did find a fantastic, fiber is everywhere. I did find a fantastic shawl that uses a sock set. That's not something I've ever seen. I can't remember the name of it offhand, but I thought that that would be super cool. Can't seem to get that to, there we go. Maybe if I cover my face. I thought that would be a really beautiful shawl, and this shawl has some basic knitting. It's a crescent in the middle, and then it has the mini as kind of a stripe, not at the end, but the last to end section, and then some lace. And I thought that would just be amazing. So I think I'm probably going to keep those together and use that for the shawl, because I was originally contemplating which one of those I would put in the heel. I think it's going to be the gold. Anyway, too many acquisitions for my car that has to fit oh so much. So if you were just here for the knitting, thank you so much for staying. I'm just going to do a little tiny life chat at the end of today's video. I won't be doing a whole lot of editing. This is just going to be thrown out there, and hopefully it won't be terrible. So if you've enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. So as for personal things, the biggest thing right now is my move and my retiring from teaching. I do not know what the future holds for me in Ontario. I have been looking at possible part-time jobs, but I'm not in a super big rush to make any decisions on that count. I just want to get resettled and organized, and also help my daughter. who is going to be moving in with me until she has figured out what her next phase is going to be. She is a web and media designer, and she kindly designed the intro to my video. All of the yarn coming out, the needles being stabbed into the yarn ball, and then the little heart with my YouTube name on it. So she is starting out, and I know that can be super hard. I was there once. You don't have too much experience, and everybody wants you to have lots of experience to get going. And she also made my logo, and she made the logo for Cozy Cottage Hideaway, which I hope to restart that channel. I've not uploaded anything for quite some time to that, but that might be something that we work on together. But if you're in the market looking for someone to make you a logo or an intro for a video, let me know, because she is definitely looking for work right now. So retirement has not really hit me that hard, other than right now I feel like every day is Friday. Friday's my favorite day of the week. I've always loved Fridays, with the weekend just being ahead of me. I don't know, my favorite day. And right now I feel like every day is a Friday, and I'm just really cherishing the time that I have left at my school and with my colleagues. I've been teaching for 34 years, and in a variety of places. I've taught up north. I taught on an Inuit village years ago in my late 20s, and I taught in private schools in the Ottawa area, and then I've been with this school board for 12 years. I lived on the Magdalen Islands and taught there. Now I'm in a town called Sept-Îles, which is a mining town. So I've had a lot of adventures, but I'm ready for something else. Teaching is not easy. If you're a teacher, you probably already know that. It's becoming a lot more difficult with a lot of things that have happened. There's been COVID, increase in technology with young people, and that can be a fantastic tool, but it can also bring challenges to the mix. So I have made the decision that I'm going to move back to Ontario and see where my Act 2 takes me. I'm excited about it, but we'll see how it goes. But my colleagues last evening after work had a retirement party for me, and it was absolutely wonderful. We went to a little pub. It was a private party, so it was just us. And we had some wonderful food, and they gave me a gift card for a yarn store in Ottawa. So I am very excited to go and enjoy that. And no, it was super, super pleasant. I did know about it because I don't often go to what in Quebec is called a 5 à 7. I guess in English, that would kind of be like happy hour. That would be the translation. I find on a Friday, after teaching all week, being in a school, which is very noisy at times, I usually just come home, I walk my dogs, I do my laundry on a Friday, and I just relax. And yeah, so I went to our Christmas party, and I did go to a little party after school a few weeks ago for Secretary and Principals Week, but I don't do that a lot. So the person who organized the party wrote me about a month ago and said, we're having a 5 à 7 on May 24th and you have to come. So I kind of knew that there was something that was going to be retirement related, but it was wonderful. And I will always remember that. I do have 3.5 weeks left, but it's going extremely fast. And I was sick last weekend, so I kind of feel like I'm behind right now. And as soon as I'm done here, I'll get the video uploading, and then I'm going to start emptying my craft room, or what's left of it. I don't have much yarn here, but it does have to be packed. And I will keep my sweater and socks to knit on until I leave, and that will be it. Maybe a muscle burrow. I might be tempted to cast that on. And possibly this skein is going to be the muscle burrow. We'll see. So that's about all for me for now, and I don't imagine that I will be podcasting again until July. So I hope you all are doing really well and enjoying your knitting. I do hope that possibly some of you will turn up at the Twist Fiber Festival this summer in August. I plan on going with my friends, and it would be wonderful to meet some of the people that I have been in touch with through this wonderful community that I really, really enjoy being a part of. So take care, everybody. I wish you well, happy knitting, and until maybe July. All right, bye-bye.